Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So I wanted to do a reading on the remainder of 2020 because there's a lot of chaos and confusion going on in the world right now. So I wanted to quickly channel messages about what is to be expected moving forward. Now keep in mind that I've said this before, I've given this disclaimer before. Tarot predictions, they are subject to change. The future is never written in stone because we all have free will, and because we have free will, people have the decision to make certain changes or certain decisions in their lives that will ultimately change the outcome of the future. So yeah, I just wanted to just channel what I'm seeing overall, or like what energy is most likely to play out based off of the energy that I am feeling right now. And sorry if seem a little bit out of it. It's like this energy is just very, very draining. It's very draining, but I am grounding myself so that I can, get my past life readings done so I can, upload content to this channel. So yeah, just bear with me. So I'm going to tap in and we're going to see, what I'm seeing for the rest of 2020. Alright, so the first three cards out are the Hierophant Card, the King of Swords, and the Gift card. So, the Hierophant card talks about old structures that desperately needed to come down. This talks about societal norms that have served a small group of people for a very long time, but has completely disempowered a large group of people. So it's a small group of people who is benefiting from societal norms, and that is coming to an end. The King of Swords is here. The King of Swords is the Aquarius energy. It's really the air sign energy, but I read it as Aquarius. This is like, people becoming enlightened, people becoming awakened, people, obtaining knowledge that pretty much dismantles whatever societal norms have been put into play. And it dismantles it, or the knowledge, or having the knowledge dismantles it because it no longer makes any sense. So a lot of people have been kept in the dark for a very long time because if they start to put two and two together that certain things don't make sense, then they'll stop doing them. Like, for example, for those of you who were raised like in a household where there were certain norms that were not healthy, that were like abusive, and you were the one that was the one to speak up and say something, then you were probably like the black sheep or like the outcast, because the norms of the house, even though they were abusive to everyone else and they didn't work for everyone else, it probably worked for, the abusers of the house. You see what I'm saying? So once you obtain the knowledge, like maybe you got on the internet and learned about narcissism, or you learned about dysfunctional families, or you learned about generational curses. Once you obtained the knowledge, those norms no longer made sense. And then more than likely, you were the one that was outcasted, or tried to scapegoat you or silence you, which is just isn't right at all. Very painful, very hurtful. And I'm saying that because I'm tapped into your energy. So for some of you, that example that I gave hit very close to home, and I felt it in my heart chakra. So, that's going on a global scale, on a scale like in terms of society, where people are just waking up and becoming very aware that certain societal norms no longer make sense. There's a lot of corruption that is taking place, and I feel like people aren't having it. I see these butterflies inside of the cards, and so I'm reading that as like the empaths. I'm hearing that there are empaths, healers, light workers, and things of that sort who are supplying this knowledge, who are basically spreading this knowledge via the internet, via the web. Because again, King of Swords, I'm reading that as Aquarius energy, Aquarius ruling the airways, the internet. Well, really air signs ruling the airways, the internet. And that's what I'm seeing here. Justice through the internet. Justice through the internet, through waking people up through knowledge. And it's very powerful empathic energy that I'm feeling here. So, these are people who have a specific destiny or a specific purpose when it comes to, spreading this type of wisdom and this type of knowledge. They are, chosen to do so, is what I'm hearing. They're chosen to do so. These are people who, their throat chakras are very strong. They are not afraid to speak up whatsoever. They're not afraid of they could be afraid, but they push through the fear and do it anyway. These are people who have been almost training for this their entire lives. It very well could be people who grew up in dysfunctional families and things of that sort, and they're used to being the truth speakers or the wisdom speakers. They're used to being the scapegoats and the black sheep. But yeah, these are people with very strong heart chakras and throat chakras. So they are very brave. I do see they also have very strong crown and root chakras. Like, yeah, all the colors in here really. So their chakra systems are like very aligned. All their chakras are aligned is what I'm seeing. Very spiritually enlightened. Yeah, I'm seeing it's yellow, red, blue, green. Yeah, it's every chakra color in this card. Yep. So these are very spiritually gifted, empathic people who are helping people to awaken. And the gift card is here, and that signifies that these people are very gifted, and they were given certain spiritual gifts in order to help bring down these societal norms. And so you'll be seeing that more and more throughout 2020. A lot of whistleblowers and things of that sort will start, well, I'm not going to say they're going to start coming out the woodworks because they've already been here all along, but more people are just going to start paying attention to them and actually listening to them is what I'm seeing. Hold on, I'm going to shuffle and pull one more. Okay, I'm hearing, one second. I'm hearing that a lot of these individuals have gone through purification by fire. So a lot of them have been through, I'm talking about the empaths who are like helping to bring down these societal norms. These are people who have been through purification by fire. So it's something that has to do with in their personal life, they've gone through things that have pretty much like burnt them to a crisp, and then they've rose from the ashes, like Phoenix Rising sort of energy. These are people who've had intense spiritual awakenings, intense dark night of the souls. But then I'm hearing purification by fire when it comes to society. There's something about fire, something burning to the ground and then rising from the ashes. And it's a gift. It's the fire, things burning, whatever it is that's set ablaze and it's burning down and being, it's a gift, even though it doesn't appear to be a gift at first. Is what I'm hearing. Hold on one second. I'm trying to tap deeper into that message because I'm hearing purification by fire, and it's something about, I can tell this reading is about to be confusing, even to me. It's something about royalty, purification by fire and royalty. Please help me piece this together in the comment section, because I can tell this is one of those readings where I'm having a hard time interpreting what I'm hearing. Purification by fire, royalty. Purification by fire, royalty. Main female adjudication card. Oh, okay. Alright, this is getting dark. I may have to move on from that message. Because these are talking about, the adjudication card is talking about court hearings. Corrupt court hearings. And somebody being at the head or the top of those corrupt court hearings. And whoever is, I may need to move on from this message. It's corrupt court hearings, adjudication card in reverse. The main female card is a powerful female who is trying to benefit from corrupt court hearings. And the light workers and the empaths are working against whoever this woman is. I don't want to tap any deeper into that. I don't like that energy. We're going to move on to the next message. The Queen of Cups is here, and the Page of Cups, and the Official Person card. Okay. So I am seeing that, a lot of people, I don't think they realize how dependent they are on these societal norms. They're like the way that things have been, the structure that has been set into motion in society. I don't think people really are aware of how dependent they actually are on those things, because as those things become dismantled, I see a lot of people being quite lost, and which is fine. Eventually they'll find their way, but I see originally or at first they are just very, very lost. It's kind of like feeling like a bewildered child, like not knowing, kind of like, oh, everything I thought was a lie sort of thing. And you're having to kind of start from scratch. It's like if a child like wanders away from their parents and now they're like lost in the grocery store. It's like that sort of energy for a lot of citizens. A lot of people will be looking for some sort of leader, and they are having a hard time finding one because all of this chaos is very unexpected. So any leaders that they thought that they had, it's like they are aware that these people are not our leaders. Like, these are not people we can depend on. So, like, for example, a lot of people look to like celebrities and things of that sort. And, you know, as the rest of these things play out, people are going to see celebrities are not leaders, not in the way that, you know, they may need. And so they're feeling lost. There's certain people that they thought they could depend on. There's certain people that they thought could be a leader, and they're not. They're not. And the leaders, the true leaders that are going to be coming forward are the people that they, at one point, you know, accused of being crazy or accused of being conspiracy theorists and things of that sort. Those are the leaders that are actually stepping forward as we usher into this new energy. And a lot of people, it's like a lot of conflict, inner conflict, because these are once people who they were like, oh, that y'all are crazy, or like, y'all are, please, I'm not trying to hear that. And now it's like, these are the people that they now have to turn to for information, and it's causing some sort of cognitive dissonance. And they're like, people are just really looking for a leader and they can't find one. And I think that people are now starting to see how helpless they truly are. And I think that it started with the coronavirus. People started to see how helpless they truly are. Like, they started to see, like, wow, I didn't realize how much I depend on outside sources for everything I need to survive, like food, water, things of that sort. Like, I don't know how to grow my own food. Like, I don't know where to go to get clean water. Like, that's the first time that people started to kind of see how dependent they really are on this matrix, on this external structure. And it just made them very uncomfortable, and they're feeling it more and more now. Like, everything is just kind of being dismantled. And yeah, people are just really looking for a leader, and it's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion, is what I'm seeing. I see so many parallels between, like, if you were raised in a narcissistic household, and I see a parallel between that and what's going on in the collective, like as a whole. Because if you were raised in a narcissistic household, you would know that narcissistic parents, they make sure that you are dependent on them. They make sure that you don't know how to do anything for yourself, so that you never truly grow up and you never really leave, or you never can really leave them. Either they make you dependent by not teaching you how to do anything for yourself, or they make you dependent by beating down your self-esteem so you never feel confident enough to branch out into the world, you see? And it's kind of like that living in the matrix. Like, you are so dependent on the external, that you barely know how to do anything for yourself. So when the system starts to fail or starts to fall, it's like feeling like a child again. Like, you don't know what to do, pretty much. And you're looking for a leader, and you're willing to cling on to any leader. So I see a lot of like false prophets and people like that trying to capitalize and try to act like they're in a position of leadership when they're really corrupt. I definitely see that. And I see a parallel between that, like I said, and anybody who was raised in a narcissistic household. When you leave that household, you inadvertently start looking for someone to leech on to. Because, you know, when you are not confident and your narcissistic parents have trained you to not be able to survive on your own, you'll notice that you'll run smack dab into another narcissist, and you'll end up in a romantic relationship with them. It's like you're looking for that comfort, or you're looking for someone to be like that companion for you. And that's when corrupt snake people can come into your life. You see what I'm saying? So think about the parallel between that and the collective. Now that people are looking for a leader and people are looking for someone to guide them, it's like anybody could come up like, hey, I have the answers. And then people are going to be like, oh yes, like this is our leader. It kind of reminds me of like on the internet, this anonymous thing. I don't know who this anonymous is, these group of people. I guess they're hackers, and people are like, yay, anonymous is going to save us. And I'm just like, you don't know who the hell is behind this account. You don't know who these people are. Why would you put all your trust into this person? How could you, like, what are you thinking? But then again, I understand, because with all this chaos, you have somebody who steps in who seems like they are almost godlike, like I have the answers, I know what to do, and people are going to want to follow them in that direction. So I see a lot of false prophets and things of that sort, like kind of popping up, and so people need to be very, very wary of that. False leaders, people who claim they have the answers when they don't. So the next cards, we have the Magician, the Nine of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the Thief card in the reverse. All right. So the Magician card is, I'm picking up that this is a group of people. It's not a group that's actually together. They're individuals. They don't even have to know each other, but they all carry a similar energy. These are people who have always been aware of the laws of the universe. They've been aware of the law of attraction. They're aware of the spiritual realm and how things work in that realm. So they have been living in the matrix. It could be some of you that are listening, living in the matrix, but like their mind is not in the matrix. See what I'm saying? It's like their bodies are here, but their minds, like they've always been kind of above the matrix, meaning they're aware of what's going on spiritually. They're aware of what's going on behind the scenes. They're aware of the corruption. They're aware of how to use and manipulate energy, not manipulate in a bad way, but you know what I mean. Like if you study the law of attraction and you use that knowledge to manifest things into your life, that's what I mean by manipulate energy. So these are people who are free thinkers pretty much and are aware of the spiritual background when it comes to life. Like while other people are just aware of what they see, they're just aware of the material. These are people who are aware of things. There are things deeper going on. And I see that these people, what's going on is that they're going to be able to manifest even more abundance into their life because the societal norms that are in place are falling. And so their energy can't be stolen from them or manipulated. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep going back to this example of a narcissistic household or dysfunctional household because this is the only way I can like describe it, because trying to describe it on like a larger level of like what's going on in the world, it's gonna be too confusing. Okay, so let's say that this is like you living in a dysfunctional or abusive household when you were a kid, right? You were always aware that your family is fucked up, okay? You were always aware that there's something wrong with these people. You're aware that they are abusive, demonic, and all that. And you are someone who has always been very gifted, very talented, and very creative. Now, when you're living in that household, there's very little you can do with your gifts and your talents because you're living amongst narcissistic, abusive people who are draining you. There's only so much you can do when you're at their mercy. See what I'm saying? Only when you move away from those people, see what I'm saying, is when you can actually flourish. So think about that on a larger scale. A lot of people have been oppressed by certain societal norms, by certain ways of being, the way that the matrix operates. Like a lot of people have these gifts that they have not been able to exercise. They have not been able to manifest certain things. And I'm not talking about just material things. I'm not talking about there's people who wanted to manifest millions and they couldn't because of society. I mean the people who want to manifest change into this world. People who want to stop, human trafficking. People who want to stop, who want to end world hunger. People who want to get, natural remedies out for certain diseases. It's like people who want to manifest real change into the world. They couldn't do it living under this matrix, kind of like a child, like a very creative, brilliant child living amongst abusive, oppressive people. You see what I'm saying? So the child can now move away from home and really flourish. That's what I mean. Like when these societal structures start to fail and they start to fall, these people can now start to manifest real, true change in this world. So you'll start to see more people, like I said, starting certain organizations to stop, human trafficking, to stop, just corrupt things going on in the world, to help people who have been, who have experienced sexual abuse, to help people who have experienced, police brutality, racism. It's like a lot more people are going to be able to manifest changes to this world because society will not be oppressing them and holding them down and preventing them from doing so. You see what I'm saying? I really hope that makes sense. I really hope that makes sense. So the next two cards, we have the Rebel card, the Clinging to the Past, and then the Coffin card. Okay. So, with the Rebel card being here, all right, these are people who are afraid. Got it. There are some people who are afraid of what's going on. They're afraid of this shift that's taking place. They're afraid of it. They actually want to go back to the past. They want to go back to the way that things were before the coronavirus started. Like, there's a lot of people who are genuinely afraid of change. Like, they're just like, no, I don't like this. Can we just go back to the way it was? And it's like, no, because the way things were was just not working. It was not working. It may have been comfortable for those who aren't aware of what's going on behind the scenes, but it wasn't working for the greater good. So that has to come to an end. But there are people who really, really genuinely are fighting against change. Like, they really, really don't want things to change. And unfortunately, these people they're going to be enemies of progress. They are. These are like, okay, think about when it first started to come into motion that, gay people should be able to get married. They should be legally able to get married, right? There were the people who were like protesting against it. No, this is not how it should be. They want to hold on to the ignorant shit from the past. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Those types of people. Enemies of progress, enemies of change. That sort of thing. I see those people. I mean, they can try, but progress is going to be made regardless because the shift it's in alignment with divine order. So they can try to hold on to the old structures, and it's just not going to work. Let me pull one more card actually for that. Pathway, yep. Okay. Yep. So pathway card, just like I said, it's divinely orchestrated. It's all the changes that are taking place. It's meant to take place. These are things that are meant to happen. So people who are clinging to the past, they're just gonna have to get over it. They will get over it. They will get over it. Eventually, they're not gonna have a choice but to get past it. Let's put it that way. And they're gonna benefit from these changes too. They just can't see it yet. They are so blinded by not wanting to change and having a set mindset that they don't understand that the changes that are taking place will benefit the whole. And as the whole is benefited, so are they, because we are all interconnected. So they don't understand that this is benefiting them as well. They just have a very narrow way of seeing things. They'll be fine. So we have the We Are the World card here, the Fool card, and the Despair card. Oh, okay, I don't like that energy. We are the world, full. Disconnected? There's something going on with the internet here. An internet disconnection. What the hell is this about? An internet disconnection causing people to be extremely... What? Sorry, I'm getting the downloads, but I don't understand what it's trying to say. I'm gonna pull one more. Hold on one second. Okay. Well, I'm thoroughly confused. There's something here about an internet. There's something about disconnection. A large group of people who were once connected becoming disconnected. I'm reading that as the internet for some reason. And it's causing a lot of, like, overwhelming sadness. What does that even mean? Unexpected income lost, jobs being lost. Okay, jobs being lost, money being lost, sadness, internet being disconnected, and then starting something new. What does that mean? You see, like, that kind of sounds like what took place with the coronavirus, jobs being lost. The internet disconnected. I mean, I don't think the internet was disconnected, but it was kind of like people were, there was so much differing and like conflicting information that it felt kind of like a disconnect on the internet. But I'm reading for the future, so I'm confused as to why that's coming up right now. Jobs being lost, money being lost, disconnection, sadness, and then a new beginning. I don't know what the hell that's about. It sounds like that's talking about what has already taken place. Let me pull one more. Yeah, that's talking. This is the coronavirus. Yeah, because disconnect. Oh, okay. Because the disconnect, it's social distancing, feeling disconnected from people, not able to interact with people. But I am also seeing like an internet shutdown or like an internet disconnect. What's that mean? Hold on one second. Okay. Yeah, this is confusing as hell. Okay. So let me just sum this up, this pile up really quick. I'm picking up on, okay, the situation with the coronavirus. Money being lost, jobs being lost, people in despair, people feeling disconnected because they can't talk to each other. The only way they can talk to each other is over the internet. There's a lot of conflicting information on the internet. There's a lot more, like fear being spread because of the misinformation, right? That's the coronavirus. Okay. Then there's a new beginning. There's a new beginning after all this. People starting fresh or people starting new. But when people are starting fresh and starting new, I feel like they are still feeling isolated. Because things are just so different. Once you go through this period of isolation and confusion and chaos, things are very different now, mentally, psychologically, emotionally. So it's like starting new, but at the same time, feeling very lost, feeling very alone. So I could be picking up on how people are going to be reacting to, I guess trying to integrate back into society after the pandemic and after everything that has taken place. It's like this sense of still feeling alone and still feeling kind of lost because it just feels everything feels very disconnected is what I'm seeing. Yeah, it's just that pile is very confusing. I hope that made sense. I feel like I'm picking up on how everybody's going to be feeling. This isn't something where it's like, okay, pandemic's over, everybody, you can go socialize again. Like people, this has done like a number on people psychologically, emotionally, and mentally. So even when they are able to interact with people again freely and openly, there's still a lot of fear. There's still a lot of feeling alone. And it makes them feel weird because they feel like, okay, since we can go back outside or since everything is back to quote unquote normal, why doesn't it feel normal? And so it's creating a lot of cognitive dissonance in people. If you're someone who's ever experienced like a really, really bad relationship, then compare it to that. It's like the you who you were before the relationship and then you leave the relationship and you're like, I'm out of it now. I don't have to deal with that terrible person anymore, but the whole world looks different to me now. I feel alone, even when I'm interacting with people. I feel this heavy energy. That's what people are experiencing when they come out of this pandemic episode. They feel like they've just been through a fucked up relationship, in all honesty. Sorry, I'll stop cursing. A messed up relationship. My God, Julie, stop cursing. Yeah, but that's how it feels. And it's weird because people are kind of like, why do I feel like this? Like, if you've left I'm telling you, if you've left a bad relationship, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, I'm out of it. Why don't I feel better? Because, well, it's done damage. That's why. And it's going to take some time and some healing to be able to reconnect with people. Because you're going to have to relate to them in a different way now. You'll never be the same as before, but you'll have to find a way to relate to people on a different level. So the next two cards out, we have the guidance card and we have the celebration card in reverse and we have the lovers card. Okay. So I feel like I'm picking up on a lot of people's spiritual guides, spiritual teams, their angels, their guardian angels and things of that sort. A lot of people's angels are just very, very close to them right now, which makes sense because we are in distress. There is a lot of spiritual warfare that is taking place behind the scenes that obviously a lot of people can't see. There are obviously spiritual workers, light workers and things of that sort who can see it. But a lot of people can't, but it is absolutely happening. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty. There are forces at work that are trying to, all right, I'm just going to say it how I'm hearing it, even though it sounds very, very strange and extreme. There are forces at work trying to suck the love out of the world. And I know that might sound very dramatic or it might sound very strange, but that's what I'm hearing. The spiritual warfare that's taking place, there are dark forces, negative forces. If any spiritual workers or whatever tells you there's no such thing as negative forces, that's a bold-faced lie. Yes, there is. They're not anything to fear because they feed off of fear. And we have, our spiritual teams that are working for us. God is right there with us. We are protected at all times. But these dark forces, they exist. If you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, they exist. So these are dark forces that want to suck the love out of the world and, are using these incidents that are taking place to really play with people psychologically, mentally, and emotionally and drain them on a collective level. And it's like spiritual warriors, like this spiritual war that's taking place. It's an actual war is what I'm hearing. It's an actual war that we can't see. And it's being fought and it's not pretty. I'm going to pull one more. I'm going to pull a couple more actually to clarify. All right, one more. Yeah, so a lot of spiritual workers at this time, like tarot readers, psychics, things of that sort, of course, use discernment. Not everyone who claims to be a light worker or an empath, not everyone is that. So just be very careful about the messages you are receiving from people. Just wanted to give that disclaimer. I didn't see that in the cards. I'm just giving you the disclaimer. Because at this time, a lot of people will be turning to spiritual workers and things of that sort because it's almost like people are coming into the awareness that this is spiritual warfare that is taking place. And so they're like, oh my God, let me turn to the spiritual reader, the spiritual person, and maybe they have the answers. Be very careful of that, especially because you heard me just say, false prophets will be popping up all over the place because people are in need of guidance. Be very careful. Be very careful of that. But I am seeing that there are the true spiritual workers and light workers and things of that sort who will be sharing a lot of the wisdom and not a lot of the knowledge that they have obtained. They have experienced a lot of the spiritual warfare throughout their life. So they have been preparing for this shift and for this chaos that has been going on. A lot of spiritual people and light workers, they have experienced it in their personal life before it ever took place. Okay. And that's very common. I know before the riots took place, the day before, I had a very crazy situation, a physical altercation. I won, but I had a physical altercation. Yes, indeed I did. And it happened the day before the riots and it was so unexpected. And, it was just wild. It was really out of control. And then when I went to sleep that night, I kept astral projecting by mistake, like as if my soul was trying to leave from this place, as if something crazy was about to happen. And so I kept astral projecting and I was just like, what the hell is going on? And then boom, the riot started the next day. So a lot of spiritual workers, a lot of spiritual people, they, have experienced these things beforehand, and so they are going to be able to share their knowledge and their wisdom on how to stay grounded and how to maneuver through this. I am seeing the message of concern card that, it's just, I feel like the messages that are going to be sent out into the world, like, they may not be pleasant, but they're needed. Like, this is not a time where spiritual workers are necessarily going to be trying to, stay positive and, just keep your vibration high. Like, it's not the time for that. Like, it's going to be spiritual workers who are giving you, like, the real, giving you, like, the truth. These are not people, there's going to be some who are trying to uplift you, there's nothing wrong with that. I just uploaded a video on blessings that are coming your way to try to uplift people, you know? But for the most part, a lot of the information that's going to be shared, it's going to sound kind of like, oh my God, like this is worrisome. This is concerning, but it's needing to be said. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, going back to my examples from dysfunctional abusive households, when you click onto a video about a narcissistic parent, you're not hearing anything positive. You're not hearing like, it's okay, you know, they're just, you know, love and light, and you know, you're not hearing that. You're hearing, listen, this is a demonic entity that has been torturing you since you were a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people who find out about narcissistic parents, they are mortified when they first hear about it. They're like, I knew something was wrong. I knew something was wrong with my parents, and they always blame me, and it's shocking, it's hurtful, it's painful at first, but I bet a year later you ask them, are you glad that they found out that information? They're going to say yes, because without that information, they thought it was something wrong with them. They thought that they were the issue. They thought that their parents were, you know, normal, and they would not have never been able to heal from that space. So these spiritual workers are giving the truth. These people, they're giving the truth. And when I say spiritual workers, it doesn't just have to be tarot readers. It could, like, there's different types of spiritual workers. It could be like an author. It could be a public speaker. It could be anybody who is sharing any type of truth, who is spiritually in tune. Even if they don't do spiritual work, they could still be connected to the higher realms and getting that information through the higher realms. Yeah, anybody who's giving you the truth, it's like, you're going to be glad later on that you received it, because even though it's not pleasant, it needs to be said. There's awareness that needs to be had so that the real changes can be made. And you know, initially it feels like you've lost everything. When you get certain information, you're like, damn, my whole life is a lie. Like, if you've been in like a toxic relationship and you find out that they've been doing something behind your back, you feel like, damn, I've lost everything. Like, my whole life has just fallen apart. I've been with this person for 5 years and I just found out that they're not who I thought they were, and now I have to move out of my house, and now we can never be together, and we have kids and all that. But it's like, you feel like your world is falling apart, right? But later on, you're very grateful for that information, because now you know exactly who you're dealing with. Now you know exactly what type of situation you've been blind in. You see what I'm saying? And you're always grateful in the end for the truth, even if it feels like everything is falling apart. So yeah, I just see that everything that's going on, it needs to be going on. Every truth that's being revealed needs to be revealed, because living a lie is no longer working. Living a lie is no longer working. And, I do see brighter days, believe it or not. I know this reading sounds so dark, and then I'm ending it like, there's brighter days coming. No, but there are, because the marriage card is coming out along with the high honor card. This talks about people living, this talks about people living righteously, people doing what's right and no longer doing what's safe. This is people like tapping into their inner warrior, being brave, making the necessary changes on a collective level. And because of that, it's like a new world that is going to be ushered in, is what I'm seeing. Okay, let me put it this way. It has the ability to be ushered in. Again, free will plays a large part in this, and I'm talking about the collective. So I'm talking about billions of people. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of free will plays into this. So there is a possibility of there being a better world that comes out of all this, but it's not guaranteed. People have to actually live righteously and do the right thing, and not cower away from the truth and try to go back to the old way of doing things. And because they're comfortable, they go back to the old way. And people also have to start being a bit more militant, is what I'm hearing. And when I say militant, I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean like disciplined, like, okay, I see what's going on here. I need to start making the necessary changes. I need to start making the changes, starting first within my own life and then within my community, doing what I need to do. Like, okay, every day I'm going to, like, for example, someone waking up and say, okay, every day on social media, I'm going to get up and make sure I find a new petition to circulate on social media. That's what I mean by like disciplined. It doesn't have to be like you going outside and you're like on the front lines. You could do work like on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, oh, I don't like the way this is. I want to go back to the old days where we could just share memes on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? It's like the people that are like, okay, we can go back to that eventually, but right now I'm going to stay diligent and I'm going to stay very focused on getting this information out to people, getting them to sign these petitions. You see what I'm saying? Like, people have to tap into that sort of energy and be very serious about making these changes. And then only then will we have a brighter future and a brighter tomorrow, is what I'm seeing. So that is it. Those are all the messages that I am seeing. I see that ending the reading is the imprisonment card, so humanity is becoming free, is what I'm hearing. Oh, twin flames, the marriage card. Twin flames are playing a large role in this, so you might see more twin flame channels popping up, or like people who are legitimate twin flames doing work together. You might start seeing them pop up, is what I'm seeing. Yep. Yeah, I might have to do a twin flame reading because I just got a funny message. Okay. So that is it. I really hope that this was helpful to you. Trying to make sure that's everything before I turn the recorder off. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure you comment down below if you got any intuitive downloads or any insight from this reading, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.